Hello, and welcome to the Gaia update for the total lunar eclipse that happens on January 21st, 2019. I'm Adrienne Elise. Well, we're having this incredibly potent total lunar eclipse, and it's happening at 0 degrees Leo. So that's pretty interesting because just the day before is when the sun will move in to the sign of Aquarius. So on the full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite in the zodiac. And so it's a pretty powerful energy because first of all, it's a total lunar eclipse, and that's always got an incredible culmination type energy. Now, eclipses are really strange times. It's the times when our earth and the sun and the moon line up. And in this case, you know, when eclipses occur, it's when they line up with the nodes of the moon. And in this case, we also have Uranus in square to the nodes, and that's been happening since September of 2018. We've been feeling this effect. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So on the 20th of January, when the sun moves into Aquarius, it's quite a shift of energy and highlighting this whole energy, maybe bringing forward a lot of realizations and connection to a bigger picture and new energies that are trying to come in to our planet, to our evolution, to your personal life. And so, but leading up to this eclipse, we have such intense Capricorn energy because first the sun went in the beginning of the year, just as we started this year, it's like the 2nd of January, the sun came into a conjunction with Saturn in Capricorn. Then the sun came into a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn, and Mercury came into a conjunction with Saturn in Capricorn. And then Saturn, for this eclipse, will be feeling Mercury in conjunction to Saturn. So Saturn and Pluto are the big players in Capricorn right now, and will be in Capricorn through 2020 when Jupiter joins as well. And that's this kind of like heavy energy, but also a huge opportunity for humanity. So we're getting a bloom. All of January is this Capricorn bloom, and this just shifts on the day before this total lunar eclipse. So it's kind of interesting because the lunar eclipse is actually happening when the moon is at 0 degrees Leo. And so it's because the nodes in the fall, the north node moved into Cancer and the south node in Capricorn. So that also means that the south node is a player throughout all this Capricorn energy. And so for this eclipse, the sun is conjunct the south node, and Mercury will be conjunct Pluto. So it's been like bam, bam, bam of these power players, and the sun and Mercury triggering them. And so the sun and the moon will be in alignment with the nodes, and then that makes them also in square to Uranus. So this Uranus square the nodes that we've been feeling has this whole energy of like this wheel of time that's trying to turn. It's trying to move us into this age of Aquarius, and yet it's rather stuck, right? Because we're coming up against our manifested reality, our manifested belief systems, the programming that we have that's been inflicted upon us, that we bought into, that is not allowing the energetic shift to occur, right? And so it's like this Capricorn energy of January feels like just coming up against a brick wall and having to face reality and having to face everything that is holding us back in life. And this is a really important time leading up to this total lunar eclipse because we're getting our marching orders, we're getting our homework for this upcoming year. What personally are we going to be working on in this upcoming year in preparation for 2020 astrology? Because we really want to pay attention to this. I mean, this is epic. what's happening in the sky. And it's happening when the numbers line up of 2020, and 2 and 2 in numerology make 4. So in 2020 astrology it's 4 walls. It's about building a new world. And so it's time for us to come on board. We're all working collectively on this really important mission. And what's your individual role? So that's happening, but we also are still feeling this Jupiter square Neptune, and that is bringing a lot of confusion, and also the whole eclipse energy. So eclipses, when this lining up happens, it's got this energy of timeline alignment, but also in between time, like in this strange portal or wormhole, and you don't know where you've come from and you don't know where you're going. And imagine, kind of like being stuck in the birth canal. And that's kind of what this time feels like. And it's like the birth canal when the pelvis will not open to let the baby come in, right? It's like, it's not dilating, right? It is like, this is what life feels like right now with all this Capricorn energy. But what's being shown to us is what's in the way of us personally moving in to our optimal timeline. And when we stay present with this process, we're doing an incredible amount of positive work for the collective as we try to move into our collective optimal timeline. But there is a bloom, and especially at these times of year, or times when these cosmic events happen, especially a lunar eclipse, what's called a blood moon, there is a bloom of energies, of the negative, and these rituals that happen at this time. And it's really, really important to just stay present in the light and what is true, whatever you're going through. And that's the purpose of this soul group session, is to amplify our individual healing and to hold space for this better world that we know we came here for, right? That we know we're working for. And there's a lot of messages coming in right now in the Capricorn energy. This bloom feels like, oh no, you're not going, right? You can't go forward. Like you thought you were getting somewhere, but you're not. And it feels like coming up against that brick wall. But it's very important to pay attention and see what's being revealed to us. So eclipses are about revealings, right? But also about confusion. So it's pretty interesting we have this Jupiter square Neptune, because in eclipses what happens is that there's the covering up and then there's the revealing, right? So it's a confusion, and it's like a feeling of I don't know anything and nothing's making sense, and then, oh, okay. So this is a really important time for us, for humanity, to be present, be aware, and be available for this great revealing. And this is coming up in a lot of sessions right now. One of the core energies that keeps our part of ourselves stuck in other time dimensional frequencies. So in a past life, say something traumatic occurred, or you feel responsible for something that happened and it's not resolved, part of you can be stuck in that time dimensional frequency. And this is the need for a soul retrieval. And what I'm finding in the sessions right now that's coming up is this theme about a lie or a misunderstanding about the facts of what was really going on that caused you to blame yourself and take on karma that might not be your own. And so you're carrying this heavy energy, you're rejecting this part of your soul, and it's not actually, you can't you can't heal the karma because it's not your own, and the lie is keeping you stuck in these pieces. And that's an interesting energy in the cosmos and the collective, because we all know we've been told a bunch of lies by authoritarian structures, which is what's coming up for review with all this Capricorn energy, particularly with Pluto there. And so are we on the verge of a disclosure of more information of how we've been lied to? Because this is coming up a lot, because when people understand, oh, that was the reality, I was actually manipulated in that situation and lied to, and I took the blame, right? So something like that, that's just an example. But when we go back and we get the truth of what happened, we can then move forward and heal and forgive ourselves and come back into our wholeness and feel that we deserve to live whole and complete. And that's pretty much the message I'm getting to right now, is that this is the work that we're doing right now. It's not about a specific task, although those downloads are coming individually for people about this next year. But we're really just here to embody. You know, the biggest threat to the control energies on the planet is us being whole and complete and embodying and incarnating our light, right? And so that simple thing is really our task here on the planet. And it's not easy, but it's kind of, in a way, it can help release the pressure you may have been putting on yourself about not completing, you know, but not getting done what you wanted to get done in this lifetime, or not knowing what your mission is and feeling confused. And it's like, what if your mission is to embody your light here and be completely present? And this has a lot to do with the upcoming transition of Uranus moving for good, you know, out of Aries for good and into Taurus for this next period of 8 years or so. And that is bringing, Taurus is an earth sign, and Uranus is about new higher frequency vibrations and information, and it's infusing into the earth, right? So it's calling all of the light workers to fully incarnate. And that's a big picture that I get, is that these souls are partially incarnated, like working on partial cylinders, and the engine doesn't run so well, right? You know, you don't have your power hooked up and you're kind of working extra hard to get anywhere. Is that how life feels? That's what's going on. And so now it's time. So our real mission in this year is to embody, because that is how the vibration of the planet changes. Right now, we're partially incarnated, and we have no idea what's really going on. And so there's the changes that are coming have to do with this coming home, landing on the planet. That's a lot of what this Capricorn energy is about, because Capricorn's also an earth sign, and about disclosure. And so what's happening in your life right now is a part of what's happening is a disclosure of truths, not easy to look at a lot of times, but they will set you free. And so this eclipse season is about revealings and disclosure, personal disclosure, to help you understand, the belief systems, the programming that's been holding you back, so that you can work on that, clear it, and actually move forward. But there's a lot of energy of 2019 being a continual karmic purge, kind of like waves of karmic purging as we go through. But if you kind of understand that that's what's happening, then you don't have to get so personally attached to it, and you can understand that perhaps these traumas that are coming up from the past, they're just coming up for you to review and release, because if they're hidden in your subconscious, that's when they're really a problem. So they're not coming up to replay, but it feels like you're being pulled back in to trauma energy. And it's really hard when you don't know exactly the origin of this trauma, past lives or this life, and you can't access the memories or the realization on that level. So there is a possibility for a lot of disclosure energy to happen in our life over these next couple of weeks with this, especially with this total lunar eclipse. So hold space for this, and we're going to be doing some really great work on this group intuitive session. This is going to happen on Saturday, January 19th at noon Mountain Standard Time. And this is a group intuitive session where we look at shared past lives. And what we can do is this has the effect of connecting with our soul group on the astral plane and calling them into our life in real 3D reality, which would be quite refreshing for a lot of people. That's one of the themes of 2019, is coming together in a real way in these soul groups. And when you do connect with your soul group and you find these similar matching past life pictures and contractual arrangements and stuff, it amplifies your healing and also offers healing to the collective. So this is the point of these soul group sessions. And this one in particular, we're going to be looking at these, maybe some lies from our past lives that keep holding us back, maybe some soul retrieval work, and just mostly resetting our vibration to our most optimal timeline, and then that is such a gift to the collective. And this is, again and again, I'm called to say this at certain times, and this is one of those times where I just get so much messages about the gratitude that if you could only hear the messages of the higher dimensional beings that can't interfere with our process but are rooting for us, and they're just like, it's like the work that's happening on the planet right now is having the potential to have wide-ranging effects throughout the whole multiverse, right? And that's why it's so heavy, right? Because we're trying to kick off some energy, some lower vibrational energies, control energies from this planet, but the effect will affect other, it's like the galaxies in other places. And so I don't know if that might help deal with the heaviness of this time right now, because people are really feeling it. And this Capricorn, because this Capricorn energy has a reality check energy, the brick wall, what's in the way, and the obstruction. And it feels like the messages coming through right now through the programming and control is like, don't even bother trying to help or do anything, right? And we're back in survival mode. Feels like we have little breaks, and then we're back in survival mode where daily life becomes so intense because we're trying to do this work on other levels. It's completely invalidated, and we have no idea what's happening, but we're exhausted and kind of dragging our body around because we're stuck in lower dimensional frequencies, because we're trying to bring along other souls that are not quite ready to go to the higher frequencies. And so we're kind of back and forth between the heavier energies and the lighter energies, and just know that that's the time we're in. This is part of the process, but we are getting some revealings about our personal homework as we move into this preparation year of 2019. But so what happens in 2020 is Saturn and Pluto, which are already in Capricorn, and they do come quite close this spring, but they don't come into a full conjunction. But in 2020 they do, with Jupiter and the South Node. So it's like, whoa, and this is a powerful energy of coming to face reality of our world, so we can change the reality of our world, and coming home to Earth so that we can transform the Earth. And sometimes coming home and facing the truth is just not that fun. But we're getting this mini bloom of this energy, and it doesn't feel good for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's crucially important so that you can make the most of 2020, and that humanity can take that leap that 2020 offers us into a new era of truth, of integrity, into the Aquarian age, new energies and technology coming in, where we can move into the golden age that is available to us. And so we are not going to maybe feel the lightness and the benefit of this new, we're going to feel it in flashes, right? But the outside world and our manifested reality, the whole point is that it's not, it hasn't adjusted to the energetic shifts that are trying to happen. This is the coming up against the wall. The physical manifested world and the control energies that wants everything to stay the same and not change, is keeping us from transforming our reality. And so we're feeling completely stuck. And it's just this culmination of the cosmic battle between the control energies trying to hold us back and the evolutionary energies of our natural evolution. And this has gone on for far too long, right? I mean, for how many thousands, 10,000, 100,000 years? Like, humanity has been kind of like continually held back in its human evolution. And there's so much technology and solutions that are available to us to help make our world a better place that feels better for us. As sensitive souls, this is so intense right now, where it's just like what's happening on the planet, and the messages that are the negative messages that are coming through the programming is saying you can't do anything about it, don't even try. And that's a lie. Because you being here and incarnating and being present and bringing in your light, doing your part to be present on the planet, even, if you're not feeling totally good or whatever, it's like you're continually incarnating your light, and you are a light in this world. And that is the biggest threat to the control energies. And it is the core essence of the work that we're doing right now. And so that can be helpful in these confusing times, because all of January we feel this Jupiter square up with Neptune. Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius. This is pretty interesting, because we've got Saturn at home. This is messages about this time we live in. We got Saturn at home in Capricorn. We've got Jupiter home in Sagittarius. We've got then Neptune home in Pisces. And so planets really like being at home. They feel powerful, and we can work deep, they can be deeper and more potent on their potential, right? And maybe that's a message for us about coming home to the earth. And so, but we've got Jupiter in Sagittarius, and Jupiter is like the seeker, and it's the teacher, it's the researcher, it's the wanting to know all of these things, all these spiritual truths and facts and things like that. And they can kind of be a know-it-all, right? It's like you can't argue with this Sagittarius because they've done the research and they know and whatever, right? And then Neptune is like this connection to our collective consciousness and connected to this like God consciousness, but also a lot of confusion and delusion. And so they're kind of coming head to head in this square. And it's just kind of questioning everything that we've ever thought was true. And again, it's like part of the reality check of this time. And it's like it's just very confusing. And we're going to just feel this through all of January and through this total lunar eclipse that's happening on the 21st. And this is amplified by the fact that Venus is now in Sagittarius, okay? And Venus feels, kind of, it's a celebration in Sagittarius. Venus likes to have fun, and so does Sagittarius, and enjoy experiences in life and expanding. But it's coming up to a conjunction with Jupiter, and then also coming into that square with Neptune. So as Jupiter kind of starts to come out of the square with Neptune, Venus comes into that square with Neptune and kind of carrying out this energy. And so Venus in square with Neptune, the confusion and the delusion has to do with our self-worth and trying to sort out all of the stuff that came up for us in the fall with that Venus retrograde. Do we really deserve? Do we really know what we want? Right? Like, okay, so maybe we kind of have come to a place of more self-worth and cleaning out the closets with that Scorpio retrograde. And now that Venus is in Sagittarius, right? So it's the next sign. It's moved out of its whole retrograde energy. But now it's coming into the square with Neptune, and it's questioning what we thought we learned about our self-worth and what we really want. And so expect some confusion around that. And I can feel this in a lot of people right now because there are timelines trying to land for people, but we're so attached to the way things have been, even if it wasn't good. And it's like it's almost traumatic to allow a new timeline, a new energy to come into your life because it's so disruptive to the old belief systems that you get triggered into trauma. And it's really weird because it's like I could see some very positive things happening for people, but it's triggering trauma, and it's a strange time. And I think that this is part of that energy. And it's actually, it's a time of confusion, but it's ultimately bringing us to more clarity. And then with this lunar eclipse, it's like, okay, go into the darkness so that the light can come. So the light of truth can come. And it's pretty potent that this eclipse is at 0 degrees Leo because it's a rehash and a completion and a powerful message because the last couple of years we had the influence of the North Node in Leo. And so now a total lunar eclipse at 0 degrees Leo. Leo is about, in these bigger, wider cosmic events, collective events, it's about shining our light and it's about claiming our potential. And so we are having this message from the universe that's saying that to move into the new age of Aquarius, because that's where the sun will be, right, for this eclipse. To move into this new age of Aquarius, we've got Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, square the nodes, saying we're trying to move into the new, but we're stuck in the old, and we're jimmying the lock, and it's the wheel of time is trying to turn, but it's all jammed up with all this crap that we've bought into, and the lies and all that. And so it's like trying to make this big evolutionary shift, but it's like, are we really ready? Because it's like in order to move into the new, we have to face these traumas that get triggered by just change in general, even if it's positive change. And so with the sun in Aquarius and the moon, they just moved into this. Now it's a very critical energy at the very beginning. It's like not even into Leo, it's 0 degrees, but it's this kind of new rising sun, right? And this is this new spark of potential, because part of the thing with the nodes is that we don't really feel the effect of the nodes because they move, they go back and forth a little bit, but they don't retrograde like the other planets. And so it comes later. Like we're now just now getting the gift of that North Node in Leo. But the universe is saying this is absolutely crucial, because the North Node is about how are we moving, how are we going to get to where we're trying to go. And it's saying that this total lunar eclipse is saying, hey, you guys, don't forget, this is all about you shining your light, coming into your power and your potential. You know, and we've been so busy fighting against the old and fighting against the control energies and kind of being sucked into the lower vibrational frequencies again and again and again. And, you know, the big energy with this Pluto and Capricorn is like, where have you given your power away? To these authoritarian structures. And it's time to claim back that power and shine your light and come into your potential. This is again like that full incarnation energy, and us coming into our potential and understanding the power of who we are as humans as fractals of God and God consciousness. It's like immense, you know, power that we have available to us. And so this 0 degrees total lunar eclipse is saying, don't forget why you're doing all this, right? And remember that after Capricorn, this hard energy of facing the truth and coming up against karma and obstructions, it's like that's coming up to remove the obstructions to move into the new age. After the Capricorn energy, the planets, not the ages, they move backwards, but the planets move in. After Capricorn is Aquarius, and that's a lighter energy. It's an energy of seeing the bigger picture and having higher vibration information, having a connection to the magic of the universe, and an intellectual stimulation of the higher vibrational frequencies. And it's kind of like a smarter, you know, the Aquarian age is about having a smarter, using technology for the positive to help humanity and help the earth, and having a smarter way where we're more autonomous within our being. We don't need, we need leaders, we need visionary leaders, but we don't need control energy to hold us back anymore, right? And so this total lunar eclipse is kind of saying, hey, you guys, remember why you're going through all this. Just remember that we're going through this to get to the other side. And it is there. So it's a glimpse of light and empowerment and potential, and that our human potential coming into it is the key of how we get to where we're going. Now, it's interesting because the next chapter we've just moved into with this North Node in Cancer says that we can't really move forward until we actually have more nurturing and recognize the value of nurturing in our world. And so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, so you can see your potential, but if you don't have a connection to nurturing and self-nurturing, care and feeling at home and feeling safe and loved, then how are you ever going to come into your potential? Right? So it's an interesting juxtaposition with the nodes have shifted, but this particular eclipse is going back into that energy of the last couple of years and kind of bringing this all together. It's a pinpoint of light, right? And these line up. It's that pinpoint of light. It's that timeline adjustment. It's like, okay, there's your opportunity to hop on to that more optimal timeline, but that takes some presence, some intention, some vibrational resonance, and this is what we're going to do on this group session. So pretty potent energy. One of the sweet things that's happening for this eclipse is we'll be feeling Venus in trine to Mars. And that's a really sweet energy of harmony between the two parts of ourselves, right? So much of the trauma programming throughout our evolution has been about separating the male and the female, the sides of the brain. You know, true, intuitive, intelligent, spiritual thought that has to do with the Aquarian energy age has to do with our right and left brain and integration of the male and the female parts of ourselves. So, because when that happens, we can come into the intelligence of the heart, because the heart has intelligent cells, but it's just one, right? It's a one unit. It's a oneness consciousness, and we're stuck in duality consciousness. So it's a really beautiful message here with our male and female planets coming into a beautiful trine with Mars at home, another one at home. So we have all these planets at home. Mars is at home in Aries. energies in trine to Venus and Sagittarius. And it's kind of sweet. It's like, hey, you guys, we made it through 2018, because 2018 had like 5 tension aspects between Venus and Mars, like 2 oppositions and 3 squares or something. And now they're in a trine. And they both had really intense retrogrades, right, that we're still recovering from. And so, but they've moved into the next sign. So Mars' retrograde happened in Aquarius, and then it moved into Capricorn. Now it's into Pisces, and now it's back into Aries. And Venus was in Scorpio, now it's moved into Sagittarius. And so it's like we're out of that energy now, and it's this laying down of our weapons and seeing that ultimately we all want the same thing in the end. And maybe that's part of this kind of like beam of light that's trying to come in at this solar eclipse. At this lunar eclipse. But like the beam of light can't come in unless we're willing to hold it and receive it, right? So can you do your part to just be present with this beam of light trying to come in and hold space for this optimal timeline and for this better future that you know that's why you're here? Deep inside, you know that. You're not here to stay in this energy of trauma and obstruction. And so it's just such a crucial time, and so much gratitude coming in from the universe about the work that you're doing here and how much you've done over many lifetimes in this earth evolution and other evolutions, and to be here present, incarnate through everything you've been through, bringing your light to the planet, regardless of all of these control energies and all of these obstructions. And so just it's a great time to receive these blessings, to be a vessel for this light, for this beam of light that's trying to come to the planet right now. Because if we're not paying attention, then the negative forces can use this energy for their agenda, And we've had enough of this evil agenda, of these horrible things that are happening. If you're a sensitive person, like most people who follow my work, empath, very sensitive in your consciousness, you can feel something's not right. There's just this bloom of negative timelines and horrible things that are happening that are not revealed to us as of yet. It's not going to be fun to have to look at them, but we can feel them. And so let's come together and be the receptor and amplify this energy and hold this beam of light that the cosmos wants to help us, the blessings that want to come in to bring us into this new energy. So I hope you can join me for that eclipse season soul group session. That's Saturday the 19th at noon Mountain Standard Time. It's $20. It's a group intuitive session. It's usually about an hour to an hour and a half. And I look forward to working with you then, or seeing you next time. I'll have continued updates as we move through this energy and into 2019. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.